All right, let's go. Happy Thirsty Thursday. Welcome up to the live stream today. My gosh, the market's kind of pulling back this morning. Not necessarily the best price action opening up for the bulls today. Seriously, insane price action though. We saw a massive pullback with the SPY this morning in pre-market, pretty much pulling back all of the gains that it had yesterday. But now that the SPY is opening, we're getting a little green candle shooting back up here. So maybe the buyers will step back in, so to say. But Hope everyone's having a fantastic Thursday out there. Good morning, Zach, Toro, Game, Toby, G-Dog, Jake, Jason, Manicured, Tangy Man, Mike. Wow, everybody. Jason, the music right now, Tom, fire beats. Appreciate it, Jason, as always. Good morning, Mighty J. SPY's really holding my 681.50 support down here, and I wanted to show you guys something on the chart because SPY has been downtrending over the past couple of weeks. And we can see right now it's kind of on that trend again this morning. It's strange. It's holding it as support almost here today. I do like the 681.50 support though. This is a big level for the SPY in my eyes. Lots of bounces off of this one lately. Below here, I really am a fan of 680 even, and then 678 and 676. 678 to 676 is that massive zone that we've talked about. SPY's reacted off of here multiple times this week. Again, I know this is a weird zone for SPY. There's levels all over the place because it's a chop zone. It is the chop zone. My name's Coyote Peterson, and welcome to the chop zone. That guy's awesome. Rick Stare. Almighty, love it. Looking at some different stocks for today. RCAT attempting to pop back, looking at resistance this week around $15.50 to $16. Be interesting to see a good break there. This stock was on fire a couple mornings this week. On Tuesday, the stock essentially ripped like 13%. On Monday, it opened, it ripped like 21%. And they were up more than that on those days, but that's just the move from open, which is really what we care about unless you're swinging. Eyeing up some news from today, there was some initial jobless claims that did release, but it's not anything too crazy right now for the market. They came in at 213,000. The consensus was 215K. The forecast was also 215K. So it didn't really come in away from expectations at all, at least not enough to impact or move markets in a significant way. The trade desk is on fire. Let's see, TTD. The trade desk, 27.6%. That is actually a really good run there. Sound might be doing something interesting. Man, the trade desk definitely is. They did have some news this morning. I actually saw it on Bloomberg for like half a second, but I didn't really look into it too hard. OpenAI explored ad sales with the trade desk. There we go. Davidson reiterates buy too. But yeah, of course, the OpenAI advertising partnership is really what has them moving today with TTD. SoundHound does look pretty good off of this dip. It's coming back in a grand fashion. I could see it starting to move up here. What's up, Jadon? They said, what broker do you use? Yeah, I use Thinkorswim. That's the broker that I personally use the most. Of course, there's a few different ones out there, but I use Thinkorswim for mostly everything. What's up, KNMSO? What a wild day. It's been a wild time for Tom lately, too. CRDO having a nice move, King says. Let's see, Credo. Credo Technologies here. 11.88%. That is a really good move today. They had bad earnings the other day, and they're actually right around that resistance. If there was any negative about this one, I think that that's the main negative here, is that it seems very close to a big resistance, but it could blast right through. It seems to have some really good momentum. So, like, that is massive for the first few candles here. Yeah, SoFi has had a good week, Mike. SoFi has been pretty fun. They pulled back slightly yesterday, but yeah, I've been liking the way it's been bouncing back. If you go to like a daily chart of SoFi, you can see it's starting to really bounce down here around this big support. Let me show you what it is. Here it is. Big zone of support down here. You can see that's, of course, right where it's bouncing, right? It's awesome sometimes, right? See, you see a nice snipe like that. Creates great opportunities. It's been raining here the past 3 days in a row. I don't mind too bad, but it's getting a little old. The good guy, Circle Internet Group, CRCL, is up 100% for the past month. Might try to get into some of that action. CRCL, I know they've been coming up off the dip in a massive way. You look at them, they've fallen down a lot from the peak. CRCL, from the highs of July of 25 to the recent low in February, they fell 83% essentially. That is nuts. But now the recovery's nice. I have to say, and I'm just going to be honest, I think that this is a little bit chasing here, where you're looking for entry. I'm not saying not to enter. You know, go with your gut, of course, but it's interesting, right? Good guy, it's up quite a bit. Now, what I would like to see is maybe a bit of a pullback. Like, if we get a little pullback, maybe that would be the good entry point for us. CRCL is a wild stock, though. It has that potential just to really rip. So that's a tough one. It's a tough one. I like playing it safer, though. Oh, Met said, other than this week, it rained every day here this year where I lived. and you're complaining about 3 days. Yeah. Yep. I like the outside. I don't like it when it rains. But that's wild. Where do you live, Mets? I mean, you know, you don't have to give the exact location, maybe like a quadrant or something, but my gosh. Every day, what do you do? Do you live in the rainforest? Oh, it's the UK. Oh no. Misery for many as the rain falls for 40 days in some parts of the UK. Wow. That's crazy. Wow, I would never have thought. 40 days. I didn't even realize that was happening. Bank of America. Consolidating hard. Look at the daily for Bank of America. It's on a massive zone of support. Again, we see stocks bounce off these supports quite well. I would think that there's good potential for Bank of America to start breaking out a bit. BAC. All right, let's see. JP Morgan. Also consolidating off of another large support. These banks have been really pulling back lately, and it would be interesting to see a nice bounce back in the shorter term. It could definitely be a part of the market that really surprises us if it bounces back. It likes to trend. You know, these banks like to trend. Look at a lot of these bounces off this support zone. I'm not saying that you need to like buy up the banks and hold them forever, but I mean, look at every time it's bounced off this zone lately, it's bounced back. Now, it has fallen under there a little bit here, so I'm a little worried that eventually this zone's going to give out. But either way, it's been a very large support. I would think that there's even potential in, let's say you try to ride it up here, and let's say that, you know, God forbid that it, you know, rejects back down. You know, you could probably just sell very quickly right as it starts to break, and then, you know, maybe re-enter for like a put play as it drops down a little bit further towards like 270 or back into that zone. So you could have like a little backup plan there for it if it does ultimately turn over really hard. And like, if that does happen, the market might be having some problems too. So, which I'm also worried about. You know, SPY's been in this big uptrend over the past few months, or heading, I would say actually, it's been so long now. Like 5 months. This was like a 5-month uptrend with the SPY, and it's been recently kind of giving out, and SPY's been stuck underneath of it. I'm pretty worried that SPY is going to tumble over harder. SPY is resilient though. You know, we see it hold up in these channels quite often, and it'll have these little periods of pullback and then really bounce higher. I'm going to show you a point kind of like what we're seeing here in the shorter term on a different uptrend. Kind of like right here, for example. Close to it. Obviously, no setup's the same, but you'll see these like pullbacks like this and huge periods of chop on the way up before like a larger breakout ensues, of course. Whenever, the more you zoom out, you start to really gravitate towards some of these big breakdowns, like the Liberation Day or the 2022 pullback after the post-COVID explosion. Maybe COVID, right? Maybe the trade war scenario from 2018 that hit the market really hard. Maybe 2015. I can't remember that. I think that was like the Ukraine war kicked off the first time, and I think Obama was calling for red lines in the sand and crap, and then, of course, Trump was elected around then too. But there's a lot of people that are out there kind of looking for one of these bigger sell-offs on the SPY to come back into play again. And if that were to happen, I mean, the SPY would pull back a lot more than it's pulled back right now. Right now, this pullback is nothing. This is just a normal ride up right now still. But the one thing that is worrying me is the downtrend giving out. Because as we can see on some of these other uptrends, whenever we did start to see, like, let's say, like a downtrend, or I mean an uptrend, start to give out, it has resulted in, you know, some of the bigger sell-offs that have come into play, so to say. Here's a massive one from 2021, 2022. That was a massive uptrend. Once the SPY broke it, though, I mean, it was game on to the downside. That one was kind of perfect, though, and I don't think we're going to see something perfect like that again. But this is still it's a warning sign, right? It's at least a warning sign in the short term. Now, these channels and trend lines are never perfect, so keep that in mind. You know, the market's going to do what it wants, especially with the Iran news coming out. I like looking at stuff like that. EXPE's up 10%, Mike says. Yeah, that is true. You don't have to water the plants, I guess, but 40 days in a row. Expedia has some news today or something. They're up 10.7%. I'm surprised that they're up so much. EXPE moving. Okay, TA's rising. Your wife works IT and complains about him every day. What do they... I wonder why she complains so bad or what. But my gosh, OKTA has been destroyed in the short term. It's testing a big zone of support again, like we've seen on a few stocks this morning. Lots of support zones coming into play on the daily chart, and OKTA is again right there bouncing. The last few times it's bounced here, it's had some great moves. It doesn't mean it has to keep holding it, but there's a good possibility that we at least see a short-term bounce back. You know what else has been looking pretty good in the short term is Intel. You know, it's pulling back. You can see this overall uptrend with Intel here. And it didn't necessarily get down to that yet, which worries me a little bit. But either way, it's kind of coming up off of this dip, and it's starting to entice me back to the upside potentially. It's an interesting move for Intel. You could even say, now this is, you know, for all the flag traders out there, that, you know, it's flagging right now. We are seeing it flag. I mean, there we go. There's like your downtrend. You know, you have the lower end of the flag, and maybe get like a bounce back up there, up and out of the flag. If we start to see the overall market recover up here in the short term, this will be a great opportunity, in my opinion. Intel's been great. They've been positioning themselves well with Trump. Lip Bhutan got on Trump's good side somehow. I don't know how, but it was hilarious. Trump went from, they need to remove him, to, wow, Lip Bhutan's awesome. Oh yeah, guys. Eyeing up some news here. Ooh. U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth says the U.S. military now has operational control of the southern border. 0 people are crossing illegally. Oh, wow. That's pretty cool. The UK is sending jets to Qatar as Starmer warns conflict may drag on. The UK is deploying 4 additional Typhoon fighter jets. Good job, UK. They're helping us out. Look at TTD, nearly 30%, Trank said. Oh my gosh, it's still moving. Oh, it actually pulled back. Oh, it was even better before. I thought it was going to still be up there. SoFi starting. Oh, wow. Right back up towards that high of day. A couple great 1-minute candles, but then it seems like it hit massive resistance there. Go see Tesla. Moving up 406.60. How's Ford? Ticker symbol F. 12.55. How about GM? All the way down 77.20 as well. BAC, Bank of America. Looking at these banks today and in the short term, again, still watching them back up off of this zone potentially. They might fall through it, and if they do, that'll create some good opportunities. But for now, I'm really eyeing up that support. GLD starting to pull back on the daily. So I actually wanted to go over gold and silver today a little bit once a few more people joined up today. And now that we're kind of there, we're going to go ahead and get into gold and silver a little bit, because I'm noticing a trend with gold and silver right now that really worries me. And I want everybody to be aware of it, because and I'm not going to be out here saying that I'm calling for gold to crash or anything like that, but I'm just saying to maybe give this a thought. So looking at gold right now, you know, we've seen gold and silver explode, right? They've been starting to really pop off. And on the way up, what has caused some of these downtrends? It's been like the CME starting to hike margin requirements. And you see this happen on silver and gold futures and other metals even. But essentially, if you go back to 2011, this same exact scenario played out. You know, the CME started to hike margin requirements, and as they did, a lot of volatility ensued. There were some big pullbacks out of the metals, and ultimately, you can see how they started turning back over. But note that how each time that the metals pulled back, there was this massive recovery effort before the downtrend continued. Yes, you can see that play out pretty perfectly. And again, the recovery effort was good. It was a good recovery off of the dip, 33%, but it did not fully recover all the way back up to the high around 48.40 at the time. You know, it got about halfway, 42.45, and rejected back down at, let's say, the midpoint of this drop. Now, you go to gold, it's the same exact scenario. You know, you go back, you look at 2011, and you can see that, you know, clearly, once we got that like big initial drop that happened, the market never really came back, right? It never got that full-blown recovery. Now, where I'm pointing down here, discount this stuff, okay? This was the 2008 financial crisis right here, okay? Be a little wary of this price action. I would discount this. That stuff going on created a lot of weirdness around that time, so keep that in mind. But as I look at gold here, again, like it was in the massive uptrend. They started to raise those margin requirements, and it pulled back, but it just never really recovered all the way back. What I'm worried about right now with gold and silver is this exact thing playing out again, right? We have this massive, massive uptrend coming into play. And, you know, the CME, they started to hike those margin requirements. And we saw, you know, gold, silver, and a lot of things fall back down over the past few months and just have a lot of volatility on the way up with that news. Now, with the massive turnover and with the failure to really get back there here, I'm starting to wonder, are we going to be in this period of like a true, like it might not be straight down like this, but maybe more of a, you know, prolonged downtrend with gold and silver here. I mean, it could be the case with how much that they've popped up. Silver now is not recovered up that much. It hasn't really hit the midpoint yet. I guess it's close. It's very close. But either way, I'm just being a little wary of that with the metals here. And I don't blame people for trying to maybe, let's say, buy the dip back up. But just be wary, right? They're up a lot, and I don't want people to get caught with their pants down if there is a significant pullback. So let's see how it goes. Maybe Iran, maybe that war situation will change things and gold and silver will explode, but it's definitely something that I'm keeping in the back of my mind. QQQ is moving better than SPY today, it seems. QQQ, tech. It's tech leading the way. With banks and everything slow, it might make some sense. Yeah, QQQ from open is pretty straight up. SPY is doing pretty good. I would say it's better, but SPY is coming back good too. Eric said, point us in the right direction. Right now, the SPY's pointing right back up. I gotta say that. Good bounce off 681.50 and hold as the SPY's starting to move. There's gonna be a big day for the SPY because this range that's coming up is going to be critical. This recent high right here in the box, this peak, is where we're seeing our trend of lower highs happen. If this breaks to the upside, this is where we want to watch for a potential breakout and full-blown recovery. The SPY is really not that far from highs. The high is at 698.34. I have it memorized. I've had it memorized for weeks now. It's pretty funny. Give me 1 second. What are your thoughts on Costco and Marvel earnings? COST? Wow, the earnings are pretty wild with Costco. We're seeing a pretty massive pullback happening. Earnings tonight. Now, the big thing that I'm watching for with Costco's earnings tonight. Costco in the short term has been uptrending. You can see that uptrend right here. At the same time, there's also been a downtrend in play. So look at that big wedge that's starting to happen with Costco. Kind of a funny wedge with earnings. The earnings might be exactly what we need to start to see either a good uptrend or a good downtrend here. If we start to see a good direction picked we might be able to catch some decent opportunities and decent trades here into this morning. Nolo said SPY's got to pick a direction. SPY. Kind of stuck here today. I like how it's been popping back up, though. It's definitely been showing more of a bullish sign to me today than bearish, at least from the opening move. Of course, pre-market was pretty bad, so... Cheese wedge? Tangy man. Banks coming back down again. Gonna pull up the watch list here a little bit. Let's see what's leading the way today. TTD, no surprise there, but let's just look at second place then. DoorDash. DoorDash exploding 7% today. Let's see DoorDash. Some of you guys probably need to invest in DoorDash because DoorDash is expensive as hell, and some of you guys probably blow tons of money on DoorDash. I don't know. I'm too frugal for it. I don't see the worth of it myself. Only if it's like a day where I'm extremely busy or something, but normally we never partake in the DoorDash. A waste of money in my eyes. 159, 160 on Dash. Okay. Oh, there you go. Yeah, Mason, it saves, but you don't get it totally free, do you? Or is it free? But I've heard of people doing that too with Amex. Okay, but at least it's a good credit, yeah. Because I've heard of other people doing that, of course, but, yeah. How often do they let you do it? Like once a month, right? Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. That's pretty cool. Yeah, making those 100 IQ plays out there. NOW is really starting to pop up here, guys. Look at that amazing bounce. Mike's been calling this one out like crazy on the nightly videos. For those of you that have been following along. What is this headline? Iran says it's ready to abandon nuclear program if U.S. offers satisfactory deal. Mason used it yesterday. $38 hibachi dinner cost him $28. That's awesome. Tansy Man said $10. Game over. That's hilarious. Does Grubhub have a stock? Like, does somebody own them or something? Is it Grub? I thought they used to. Maybe not anymore. It says ticker symbol GRUB. Yeah, who knows? I can't remember what happened to this one. Iran has never hit the US first.